What's going on, guys? It's Thomas on the Switch Shop, joined by Mac and PJ once again for episode 49 of Nintendo Tonight.
50.
We have nothing
baby.
planned for 50. Actually, we do. We have
Yes,
an
we do.
interesting...
But I don't know what'll end up happening. We'll see.
Yeah, we have an interesting topic planned
yeah.
for 50. I don't know if it'll work. It's pretty ambitious, but stay tuned for that. As always, follow us on whatever you're already probably following us on. Double follow. Don't unfollow. I think that if you double follow,
Create a new
you
account.
click subscribe.
Follow. Actually,
Yeah,
should they
that's
do
a
that?
good
Because
point.
then we're gonna have like dead followers or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Don't do that. Just watch.
I
Just
don't
watch
care.
and listen.
Just watch the podcast. Get excited for episode 50, but also get excited for the next hour of whatever you're doing, or 30 minutes if you're watching this on 2x speed, like a psychopath like myself. Someone in the Discord got really shocked. I watch everything on 2x speed. I watch and listen to everything, almost everything on 2x speed. Every YouTube video, every podcast, 2x speed. I'm a busy man. It's kind of psychopathic.
I get it.
My friends hate
I get
it. My
it.
roommates hate me when I watch YouTube that's without headphones.
What I do with it is I listen to like lectures or whatever in 2x speed or whenever I like. But
That's
if
valid,
I'm
though.
doing
Yeah.
something for like leisure or something, like I'm gonna listen like
Yeah.
at 1x speed.
Yeah, sometimes I'll listen on 1x, but like most of the time it's 2x. I can get more leisure done. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
my brain is psychopathic. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. Actually, we're going to go through literally every Mario sub-series and just kind of talk about them, the state of them. This is like a State of the Union update for Mario as a whole. We're going to talk about new games, old games getting ported, DLC potential, what we're going to get, when we're going to get it. There's a lot of stuff to go
See
over.
if
so we're
Nintendo
gonna-
forgot about Mario, you know.
Yeah,
Who
I think they
knows?
did actually. I feel like actually that is getting clipped. That's going on Twitter.
Yeah.
And
Good thing
we're
I
all
stumbled
getting-
over my words, so then
You're
it
getting
won't
canceled.
actually become a clip.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'll make
Hey,
it become
big
a
brain
clip.
for that one.
Nintendo forgot about Mario. Oh my god, guys, you gotta listen to this now. Anyway, yeah, no, we do want to talk about it though, because like we have no Mario games scheduled for this year, which is an odd thing for Nintendo to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like we have the Booster
Yeah.
Course Pass. That's it.
Not one Mario. Yeah.
Not a game. So yeah, that's weird. That's their most, famous and successful franchise, and they also just released a movie, so not having a game is very odd.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that, and then as always, we got some amazing fan questions. And before we hop into all of that, I'm just going to kind of upset everyone right now. I'm going to make everyone who's listening to this, or watching it and listening to it, really thirsty with a little bit of ASMR. Oh, there we go. I don't know if that came through. That was just opening a Dr. Pepper.
It did
And it's
sound good.
Whenever I hear that,
Unbelievable.
whenever I go into the office for my actual job that's not YouTube, I always get, free sodas, free snacks, and whatever, because they're free, and I'm a college student, and I like free. And I always get a soda, and then in the morning, like, the office is so quiet, it's dead, and I open it up, and I see, like, everyone's heads, like, perk up, because everyone's just, like, you hear it, and it's like a
Laser focused.
universal,
It's such a
like,
great sound.
is.
I've read up about this. Like, there's definitely like engineers who like go into like making that sound
yeah.
as good as it is. Like, I watched
Yeah.
a video like a couple months ago about like how like car people or engineers or whatever will like make the sound of a door like louder so it, like people know it's closed. Because like
yeah, it's
apparently
like how...
yeah.
Go right
No,
ahead.
I was just saying so people know that like the door is closed and not that like yeah.
It's like they're they do this with doors, or like also a lot of electronics, like very expensive and like wealthy places or houses or businesses will make their doors heavier so it feels like a important thing when you're opening. You're stepping into like a well manufactured place, or like certain electronics will like put weights inside of them so it feels more quality instead of like light.
Somebody
cheap.
even said that on the Switch Hot Takes videos. Like, if they just put like a couple like weights inside the dock, it would feel so much like more substantial. But it feels so cheap because it's just like plastic and like,
Yeah, it's a
light.
good point.
Yeah,
It's not wrong.
So accurate.
It's
Yeah.
weird because like whenever you ask for extra weights, it's like you're actively making something less portable. But
Yeah.
it's like it does make it feel more,
yeah.
more like higher quality. Anyway, such an off-topic conversation, but an interesting one regardless. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today. Mario has a bunch of different franchises within the kind of Mario umbrella. There's Mario Kart, Mario Party, 2D Mario, 3D Mario, Mario Sports, all sorts of different stuff, and that doesn't even count the spin-offs like Luigi's Mansion, Wario stuff, Donkey Kong, all of that. And it's crazy. They have all of that stuff, and we don't know of a single title releasing in 2023, and we're almost halfway through the year. Now, granted, we don't know of many Nintendo games releasing in 2023, so it's not really a problem exclusive to Mario, but it is very obvious when you look at Nintendo's most famous plumber, and he just doesn't have any games planned. So we're going to go through every single Mario sub-series and kind of give our thoughts on where they are, maybe why there's nothing coming up for them, why we don't know of anything, whether there is something Nintendo's working on behind the scenes, or whether or not Nintendo actually forgot about Mario and is never making a new Mario game again. Because that's a possibility, hey man, it could happen.
You never know.
We're going bankrupt if that's the case.
Literally.
Unfortunately, yes.
That is tough.
But yeah, no, there's a lot to talk about here. I mean, first up, we'll just talk about Mario Kart, and we'll make this one pretty quick, because if you guys are not Nintendo Tonight mega ultra fans and watch every single one of our episodes, we did just have a Mario Kart themed episode where we talked about the entire state of Mario Kart. So we don't need to go super in depth here, but Mario Kart, luckily, is probably the easiest one to kind of point out. They're not going to make a Mario Kart 9 until the next console. The Booster Course Pass is at least taking us till the end of the year, and then I'd say we'd probably get like a year and a half-ish after the Booster Course Pass of them just like not having a new Mario Kart game come out. Yeah, any
I think they're just going to ride the Booster Course Pass for, as long as whatever Switch we have right now is the main Switch, because, assuming they're making a new console, like, eventually, like, I don't expect the Switch to like be around forever, so eventually they're gonna need to make a new Mario Kart, but for now it makes sense for them to just ride this out because it's been so successful for them.
Agreed. I mean, it's the best selling game on the console for a reason, right? So we have that. Agreed. Mario Kart 9 is not going to be till the next console for sure. And we talked about all of everything that Mario Kart 9 could be, including, a story mode, new courses, like all courses of all time, new characters, all that stuff. So definitely check out the last episode, but for sure, Mario Kart 9 or 10, if you really want to get technical with it, Mac. I know you hate that, but definitely on the Switch too.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's an impossible question, right? How do you one-up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? But we did talk about it for an entire podcast episode. And also, if you are a audio listener, I was talking to someone in the Discord earlier about this. If you're an audio listener, just make sure you're still subscribed to our YouTube channel, because PJ, it has been and is going to continue to be pumping out these like shorts and segments specifically that are kind of like highly edited versions of the podcast that feel almost like full switched up videos in their in their own right. So subscribe to the Nintendo Tonight channel, because I know one is coming out about Mario Kart, the Mario Kart episode. So if you get a quick recap on that and like it's kind of in a more concise format. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, make sure to subscribe, because obviously those aren't going out on like audio, because that's not really how that works. So if you're an audio listener, make sure to subscribe so you get notified for those. But yeah, I mean, Mario Kart, it's pretty straightforward. It's just not going to happen, straight up. And I'm fine with that, honestly, because the Booster Course Pass, we still got new characters, new waves, and maybe even more stuff coming in after that. Of course, we've always been talking about, costumes, and we're not going to get into this here because, again, we just talked about this. But, like, costumes, the possibility of a second Booster Pass, like, Mario Kart 8 is, like, thriving right now. It's never been this alive, in my opinion, as, like, the Booster Course Pass era.
It's so weird.
It's very bizarre to say, but I mean, like, even when there was DLC coming out on the Wii U, it was coming out on the Wii U. Like, there's never been more people consistently playing and talking about Mario Kart than right now. So, yeah, it's super cool. But unfortunately, that means they kind of have what they're doing, and they're not gonna do anything new. So, I'm not expecting.
I'm not mad about it. We're getting new Mario Kart content right now, so feast while we can, I guess.
The whole state of the Mario Kart franchise, like as a whole, at least on main Nintendo consoles, is purely due to the Wii U's failure. I mean, if that console does well, we get Mario Kart 9 on the Switch as probably like a near launch title. And clearly that didn't happen. And we've kind of had like the same Mario Kart like base game since 2014. So, I mean, if you're wondering the state of the franchise, it's definitely just because of the Wii U we're at this point. But then again, it is doing amazing. Like I will, refer back to the meme that I said before in the last episode where it was like suffering from its own success. It's like such a weird spot for the future. Like the present is terrific, but like any game past this is a little up in the air in terms of like where they kind of go from here and when. So
that's a great point. We don't know where they're gonna go, but at least we're getting current Mario Kart content. That cannot be said for the other spin-offs that we're gonna go into now, or the other, I guess this isn't a spin-off, but the sub-series. Let's start with mainline Mario. Let's start with the 3D portion of mainline Mario. Let's start with what the heck is going on? Are we ever going to get an Odyssey 2? I mean, there was a point where it felt inevitable, and now it feels like probably not, right?
I don't think we're getting an Odyssey 2. If we don't get Odyssey, I keep saying
At all?
giving years or something. I don't think we're actually going to get it at all. I think the next 3D Mario is going to be something similar to like either Bowser's Fury or 3D World, because I feel like they did this experiment, it worked, and then they're like going to go try something else. It's such an odd thing because Odyssey I felt like was just like such a moment in Nintendo history, and that it's weird that they're just like, they didn't even add it like any DLC kingdoms or anything. They just like released it, made Luigi's Balloon World, and then forgot about it. It's very odd.
Doesn't that make you think that they have room for a sequel? Obviously, this is so
They
far
obviously
back
have
to
room
like,
for a sequel.
2018, 2019, but like that Delfino Plaza,
Yeah.
quote unquote, kingdom obviously was like taken off the map in that like concept art or whatever. So you would think that there's more content to be had. I think Odyssey 2 is eventually going to happen, whether it's, a launch title on the Switch 2 or whatever the next console is, or if it's released maybe soon after. I mean, I think it's going to happen. It has to. Like, I know we haven't had a sequel to a 3D Mario game necessarily, I guess, since 3D
Galaxy
World.
Actually, no, 3D World.
I guess, yeah.
You're right. You're right.
So that'll be a little weird to go back into a whole 10 years later, I guess, because we're so used to having like these new gimmicks every time. But like Odyssey was so successful that I can't even see a universe where they go another direction. Like, I hear you with the Bowser's Fury thing for sure, but like Odyssey is literally just Bowser's Fury but better, and I would be really confused and honestly kind of disappointed for them to kind of take that way out, I guess, because why? Like, Bowser's Fury was good for what it is, but I feel like Odyssey 2 is just probably the way to go for this franchise. I don't know.
I think they go with a mix between the two. Because, like, from a business perspective, like, 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, obviously it's a port. You can't really make this direct comparison. But it didn't sell... Like, it sold well. Like, I think it's over 10 million units. Or, I'm like, almost positive it is. But Odyssey sold over 25 million units. So... if they are going to make a new 3D Mario and it's going to be something like from the past, whether that's Bowser's Fury or Odyssey, they're not going to completely ditch Odyssey. I think what they could do is they could have like maybe only like 7 or 8 kingdoms, but they're all the size of Lake Lapcat with individual stuff in between them. The problem with that though is like Lake Lapcat, for all of its fun, for how much I love it, it doesn't have nearly as good theming as Mario Odyssey had. Like, Lake Lapcat was kind of just like, they put a bunch of like mini challenge areas together, and then it was like, oh, we'll just put them all in a lake. And like, each challenge area had its different style. Like, there was a, one with the invisible platforms. There was one that was like a generic 3D World level. There was one that was like kind of spooky, and like you would propeller up to the top, and like, you can't get like, the magic of Mario Odyssey comes from like running around New Donk City and then traveling through like Sand Kingdom or Seaside Kingdom. Like, those are all very distinctly themed areas with their own residents, own everything. And if they go this kind of more Bowser's Fury route, I personally love the fact that we get the more like intense platforming. But if they're going to do an open world Mario game, I would very much hope that they lean into like the story and theming and that sort of stuff, because that's the best part of the open world Mario games, in my opinion. Like, if you want straight platforming, go to 3D World, go to the Galaxy games. If you want like kind of more an open exploratory, like new surprise around every corner, you feel like you're kind of making your own adventure, then do 3D Mario. And I think if they do an entire game that's similar to Bowser's Fury, like, I've heard a lot of people talk about this, I think that strips a lot of what makes the main open world 3D Mario games like unique. Like, there's definitely a way for them to do it, but Bowser's Fury worked so well because it was a short experience. Like, it didn't really have its own identity beyond the fact of like the Fury Bowser fights. But like the actual like levels themselves within Lake Lapcat didn't like have their own identity in the same way that the kingdoms did. And that's because the game was shorter, so it didn't really bother me then. But if they expand it, like, they gotta get creative with the locations. Because like, look at New Donk City, man. Like, this was so cool, and it still is. Look at New Donk, man. It's so inspirational. Like, it is like really
the
cool.
first trailer was basically all New Donk City, what they showed off. Like,
it was. They only showed off 4 kingdoms. It was New Donk City, Sand Kingdom, which we had already seen from the initial Nintendo Switch reveal, Wooded Kingdom, and Luncheon Kingdom, and then those were the only 4 kingdoms they showed off. And they also showed off Cap Kingdom and Cascade Kingdom later on in the E3 trailer, but like they didn't like a lot of the kingdoms were shown off like very close to launch. Like we didn't know about.
They kept a lot of them secret. Like
yeah,
Bowser's Kingdom wasn't shown, Moon Kingdom wasn't shown, Lost Kingdom.
Lost Kingdom was shown, Lake Kingdom was not. Lost was shown because they showed us Glydon in the September Nintendo Direct before that.
Yeah.
But I only remember this because like I made videos about this because I was like doing the channel back then. But yeah, like you're right. They did hide most of this stuff.
Yeah. I think that's what made Odyssey so special is that it just felt like so much like an adventure opposed to like basically any other Mario game they'd put out up to that point. I think that's what makes it so special. My only thing is I think Nintendo's just the type of company who just they come up with an amazing idea and then just like move on to the next thing.
They love to innovate. They love to
like
innovate.
I remember talking about this during it was actually my 3D World Sucks video that I made like a long time ago, which I don't think 3D World sucks to be fair. But I was just talking about like the bad things about the game, and one of them is they'll just show off like an amazing, super interesting idea like the double cherry and use it in 3 levels. Like I feel like they do this with games as well. Like we haven't gotten Super Mario Odyssey, and there's so much more potential to this game.
Exactly.
They just haven't. They haven't done it. It's frustrating.
I think if we're looking at what's next, like State of 3D Mario, I think almost like I think that Tears of the Kingdom actually will probably help them decide to do an Odyssey 2 because they're probably working. If I had to guess, Nintendo's working on 2D Mario right now. I don't think they've like fully started production on a new 3D Mario game. That could just be me. I'm assuming that they're working on 2D because we haven't gotten a new 2D Mario since 2012, and we did just get Bowser's Fury in 2021, even though it's not a full experience. Yeah. I think that once Tears of the Kingdom comes out, breaks sales records left and right, gets 10 out of 10s across the board, which spoiler alert, it already has. We're recording this on the day the review embargo lifted. Like, I think that would make like. If I'm a businessman at Nintendo, I'm then looking at, okay, Tears of the Kingdom, or Breath of the Wild, amazing game, made a sequel, did really well. Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild kind of go hand in hand with me as like how the Switch is like successful.
So popular,
yeah.
And I feel like then you got to be like, okay, let's just like do what worked again, like add a bunch of new ideas that, you know, and like make it even better. And like maybe they don't name it Odyssey 2, maybe it's named something else, but like the core mechanic of like grabbing collectibles, not getting booted back out to a hub world, like in Galaxy when you grab a star, and 64 when you grab a star, and Sunshine when you grab a shine. Like, I hope they keep this like gameplay loop of Odyssey, and maybe even the capture mechanic and that sort of thing. But I think the most important part of Odyssey is the fact that it's all one world and you don't get booted out. That's like so underrated. And when you go back to any 3D Mario, it's almost impossible to go back to because you grab a collectible and you get kicked back out to the like lobby. Like what? It's bizarre. There's so much downtime.
But I do remember a lot of people like not liking that feature because it made the fact of getting a moon like so much less like impactful. But I feel like that's also just a separate like discussion entirely with like the amount of moons that are in Odyssey.
I think they can fix that by adding more multi-moons and story moons.
Yeah.
That aren't just tied to like the brutal boss fights, because that's how you got most of the story moons. If they added like big side like imagine Mario Odyssey where some of the like higher quality moons that were like big side quests, kind of like getting all the Mayor or all of Mayor Pauline's like musicians.
Yeah.
I think that was a story moon or a multi moon. Like add more stuff like that maybe aren't directly in the story but are like big side quests.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I think that's how they should fix that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think to kind of conclude that for sure. 3D Mario, I mean, works. We want an Odyssey 2. I just think it's a matter of when they decide to make a sequel kind of thing for Odyssey, because I feel like, Thomas, you have a great point where it's like, you know, they see Tears of the Kingdom doing so well, they have to go, okay, like, it's time kind of thing, you know? So, and we, again, I know there's been Switch Pro /2 rumors since like the dawn of time, but you know, we see Nintendo Switch 2 coming out in 2024 with some actual substance to it. So we shall see if that is the case and if it's a launch title. So yeah, speaking of what you just brought up, Thomas, being 2D Mario, we haven't got one since 2012, being this game right here, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. and I definitely want another one. Like I recently played through all the home console 2D Mario games, and very fun. I kind of forgot how enjoyable they were, and obviously when Mario Maker was released on the Switch as well, I'm sure that kind of put a few people at some confusion, being like, okay, where does this franchise go from here? So with that kind of all in mind, obviously we're two Maker games in, and all these 2D games, like where do we go from here?
It is very odd because Mario Maker basically just like killed the 2D series in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
it basically an infinite amount of Mario levels can be created in Mario Maker, and like why put out another new Super Mario game when you can just put out Mario
Maker 3 with more styles, yeah. I mean,
I think
you could make the
what
argument.
they have to do. I think they have to take a page out of the 3D Mario book and give Mario a gimmick for this game.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like Sunshine has Flood as a gimmick. Galaxy has the spin jump and gravity as a gimmick. Odyssey is Cappy as a gimmick. Whatever this next 2D Mario game is, whether it takes something like Cappy, could you imagine if they made an Odyssey 2 type thing and it was a 2D Mario with Cappy? That would be
my
crazy.
God.
People would lose their
That would
minds.
be
I don't think
crazy.
a lot of people would be angry, but like I'd take it over nothing. 100%. Like a lot of people would be like, "Why is this not the massive 3D adventure we're promised?" But like, if they
I could
made a
see
new
that, yeah.
2D Mario, if they named it Odyssey 2, people would be pissed. But like, if they made a new 2D Mario and it was like a continuation of Mario Odyssey, that would be
Super
really
Odyssey
cool.
Bros.
Yeah, so honestly, they could name it something like
Yeah.
like Super Mario, and and Cappy's Kingdom or something. Like they could do something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they need some sort of gimmick. I don't know what that gimmick is. Like they gotta switch up Mario's moveset pretty substantially. Because adding in new power-ups is cool. Adding in new
Characters?
new characters, new level gimmicks is cool, because all that stuff, like they can make a game that is not recreatable in Mario Maker, of course.
Yeah.
But they got to do something substantial enough to where like the outside viewer sees a new game and is like, this is why I'm going to get this over Mario Maker, because right now I just don't think they have that. They need something big to switch it up.
They need something to stand out, I feel, because
Yeah.
if another 2D Mario comes out and it's like extremely similar to like the new Super series or the new Super series, I'm not sure like I pick it up. Like they're just it needs like even just like a new art style, something to make it stand out.
Yeah.
I think
it definitely will have a
extremely
new art
important.
style.
Yeah.
I think they probably end up taking a page out of 3D, the 3D world style in Mario Maker 2, where it's like kind of parallax, like you can see it's 3D, but you're still only moving on a 2D
Yeah.
plane. Or they go full Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and it's like a full, like you're still playing a 2D platform, but it's like 3D, like camera shifts, like you can jump into the background, jump into the foreground. That would be really cool as well. Or just if we're just knocking out all my favorite 2D platformers of all time, Rayman Legends has one of the like most beautiful art styles ever. It's all like hand drawn, hand painted stuff. That could work too, but not really as well within the Mario setting, I think. It would have to be like built into the story. Like they'd have to do like like the villain is like turned everything into a painting or something. Otherwise, it just doesn't really make sense. Kind of like that one random Van Gogh level. That didn't make sense, but they added that in, so I don't know.
And that's
strange.
what everybody ever talks about with the game. So
Yeah, that's everyone's like New Super Mario Bros. U like big discussion point is like
Yeah.
the random Van Gogh. Hey, there it is. Oh, well, it's gone. It was on the screen for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. Like I don't know why they made that. But
like
yeah,
it.
it's like it's like 5-4 in World Jungle, like the Soda Jungle.
Soda
Like,
Jungle, yep.
I think it's also an optional level. It's like
It is.
at one
It
side
is.
of a branching path. Why would they do that? They had to make like tons of
So
new
strange.
assets for the game. They made an entire new tile set for one level. Because
You're
it's not just
asking
the
me
background.
to try and understand Nintendo's thought process.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
not, Yeah.
Anyway, 2D Mario. Let's just end this off. 2D Mario. I think this is up next. I think some sort of 2D
I
Mario
agree
is
with
up
that.
next. And it's gonna have to be a radical difference. I think Nintendo knows this, and I think that's why we haven't gotten a new 2D Mario since Mario Maker 1 came out. What that radical difference is, there's no point in us guessing, but my gut says it's gonna be something along the lines of a new gimmick entirely, like Flood or something like that. Like not exactly Flood, but like a new gimmick that that's what the game is known for. Like in the same way, Odyssey is known for Cappy and the capture mechanic and jumping on the hat. So yeah, I'm excited to see it, and I just hope that they don't sacrifice multiplayer in this game for whatever this new gimmick is. I hope we still can play multiplayer because like people forget, like we couldn't play multiplayer 2D Mario before New Super Mario Bros. Wii. That's only that's only 2 home console 2D Marios ago.
Yeah.
Like you can't play most of this franchise multiplayer. But for me,
so
2D Mario
now.
is like
so
viewed as it's viewed as a multiplayer first franchise to me now. 2D Mario is at least.
Yep.
So I don't know. Hope that's kind of my final talk point on that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it just needs like a shift. Somehow they need a shift away from the new Super series of Mario Mario Bros games, because I feel like they need to go back to something similar to like, you know, Super Mario World, or where it's just like very much, you know, they've got the hub world menu with like a bunch of different secrets or whatever, just like, or just something to make it stand out from, you know, the past games.
New Super Mario Bros. U kind of had that, but they could definitely build upon it more. But yeah, they need something. Maybe they could even do what like Kirby and the Forgotten Land did, where like the hub world was like, you know, that's still a very linear game, and even though it's in 3D, but the hub world has like a shop in it, like you can, you know, you recruit different Waddle Dees in different levels, like it's kind of a living,
and it
breathing
built
thing.
upon itself. Like at the beginning of the game, it's very like basic, but as you progress through the game, it kind of like builds up more. I think that could be exciting.
Yeah,
definitely like room for a lot of Easter eggs
ideas.
too. It's just like, oh, for sure. Yes, it would just be like super nice to see.
Yeah.
All right.
Dope.
Speaking of
okay, so
the franchise that killed it all for 2D Mario, Super Mario Maker, where do you guys think this is going? Maker 3 on the way, or like what's the move?
I'll just plug the video we have talking about the future of Mario Maker, because we just made one a couple days ago. It'll probably be like a week ago by the time this video comes out. But yeah, just to sum it all up, like I love talking about the idea of a 3D Mario Maker. I think 3D Mario Maker is definitely possible, and I plan on making a video on why it's possible, because everyone in the comments was like, that's not possible, like it would be too complicated. I think it's unlikely, but it's saying it's impossible. It's just flat out wrong. There are other games that have 3D level makers. So yeah, I don't know.
They literally made one with Game Builder Garage. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's possible. Likely, probably not. I like. Part of me wants to say whatever the next Mario Maker is has to have a massive big improvement, but just knowing Nintendo, it's probably just going to be what Mario Maker 2 was to Mario Maker 1, where it's like it's got new stuff, but it's not like nothing paradigm shifting. Like maybe a new style is the biggest addition, a bunch of new enemies, some new power-ups, some interface tweaks and whatnot, but nothing like I feel bad saying nothing huge, because Mario Maker 2 is a big upgrade from 1, but like
had they put in things like World Builder in the initial launch of the game, I think it does like a lot better. Or
I
maybe
agree, yeah.
It's just it's the fact that they added so much afterwards through DLC that it's like it doesn't feel like a big upgrade, but it really was when you go
looking back
on
it. It's huge.
Added. Yeah.
It's weird.
They even added like a brand new game style that like doesn't really exist with the 3D world. Like it's a completely new engine or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
no, it's all
I don't know if it's an engine, but I don't know.
Yeah. I still think that game like lost support early. And what makes me think that is like the Super Mario Bros. 2 mushroom. Like they added in a mushroom that gives Mario an completely different moveset, and I still think that they were originally going to add a new theme and then just like didn't want to finish coding out the entire theme. So they just like scrapped it and just put in the mushroom as like a mini like side thing. I don't know.
I think it might be the same thing as Odyssey, in my opinion. And what I mean, same thing as Odyssey is as in, you know, they didn't add any DLC for that game, I guess, except for like Luigi's Balloon World. But like other than that, we didn't really get anything. I feel like Mario Maker 2 stopped getting support so early because it's like, wow, we could so make a Maker 3 with like way more stuff to incentivize people to buy it, and it'll do even better than this one. So I don't know. It's a little weird, but I have a feeling that's probably why it was stopped, which is unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it would be nowadays with Nintendo, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think we're gonna get a new Mario Maker for a while. Just to sum it up, I don't think we will. I think Mario Maker
middle
2.
Switch too. life cycle.
Yeah,
to be
I don't
honest.
even think we get one on the Switch too, if I'm being honest.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I think my thought process is I've already committed mentally to the fact that I think we're getting a new 2D Mario, and I think Mario Maker 2 was kind of like a port mentality almost. Like they just wanted to get Mario Maker on the Switch from the Wii U because no one bought the Wii U, but the idea is so good of Mario Maker.
Yeah.
And then I just I don't see it being like a recurring staple, like a new spin-off series entirely, really. But I don't know. Maybe
Yeah, I think you're right.
Maybe,
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't
weird.
feel like a series that you could turn into like a series that comes out every single console. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see it. I could see a port on like a console that doesn't have like, backwards
Push support,
compatibility,
yeah.
which would suck. But yeah,
But like way down the line, I feel like 2D Mario itself, like, is probably better, like monetarily for Nintendo rather than Maker 2. That might be a crazy hot take and possibly incorrect, but like that might be how they treat it. I don't really know. But I guess we'll see if they kind of treat this as a staple. But I don't think you're wrong. Like we talked about this before with Mario Kart, like right at the beginning, how the Wii U's failure is kind of put them in a weird spot all these years later because they've ported so many of the games. Because like the Wii U did have great games, it just was a failure sales wise. Like, I mean, it explains a lot. Like Switch has a lot of Wii U ports, so I agree for sure. I think 2D Mario is probably next.
all right.
Okay, Thomas's favorite.
Mario
Party. What's going on?
I love Mario Party.
Give it.
I love Mario Party too. There's nothing like quite like it. Like it's a very when it's firing
It's so
on all
different.
cylinders, it's so fun. It's so unique.
Yeah.
It's so like it's so its own thing. It's got a really good brand identity. Or at least it did. I think it's still like the vibe is there, but it's definitely not as high quality as it once was.
Yeah.
But they're making steps in the right direction. I think the one problem now that's holding them back is lack of content, which is
See it right
why
here.
I'm upset that we never got DLC from Mario Maker
Party Superstars,
Mario
yeah.
Party Superstars.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think we probably get a Mario Party either this year or next.
A brand new one.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got
okay.
Super Mario
No,
Party
actually,
in
that makes
2018.
sense. That makes sense.
We got Mario Party Superstars in 2021. So 2018 to
Mario Party
2021,
is just
that's
such
3
a
years.
different series because when you said a new one coming out next year, I'm like, we've already got 2 on the console. That doesn't make any sense. But then I go back and think about
Yeah,
the
think
GameCube,
back.
and there were 4
Exactly.
on
Yeah.
that. So like, it makes sense. But yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
I
would think with like the new Nintendo mentality, or even just like the Switch effect in and of itself, which is something we bring up quite often, you would think that they would probably make less Mario Party games and probably just update them. But it's like so weird the state that we're in now because Super Mario Party like was supposed to have online, and then it got like randomly shadow dropped one day, and then that was cool for a little bit, and then that died, and then we got Mario Party Superstars, and then the issue with this game is it's amazing, but there's not enough boards, and then it's like then they put like Mario Party on N64 online having 1 to 3. It's just so weird. I don't even know. It's so strange. Like I don't know why they don't add DLC for this game for sure. It's like such a gimme. I don't know.
I think, in my opinion, we're gonna get later this year, and I'm just putting this prediction out. So if it happens, great. Later this year, we're gonna get a Mario Party in almost the exact same like engine and style of Mario Party Superstars, but it's gonna have a couple new characters, and all the boards are going to be completely original. I think what
makes
they
me
did with
nervous.
Super Mario Party is like they took a stab, and some people liked it, some people didn't. Then with Mario Party Superstars, they were like, we're gonna go back to basics. I think Mario Party Superstars did really well, but they're not. I don't think they're gonna then do another like rehash where they take all the other boards, or they take old boards and they take old minigames. I think they're just gonna do Mario Party Superstars again, but with new boards and new minigames. And it'll sell really well because it'll be a new Mario Party.
Yeah.
So
I thought about this. I think the reason it never got DLC is because Mario Party is probably the most like, I'm trying to figure out like how to say this, the least amount of like Nintendo like fans are buying that game. It's
the
the
most
most
casual.
casual. That was the word I was thinking. Casual. I don't know why I couldn't figure that out. It's the most casual series of like games Nintendo probably makes besides like Mario Kart. But maybe this is a bad example. But like it wouldn't make sense for them to make DLC for Mario Party in my opinion, because I'm just not sure that many casual fans would buy it for new boards. Like I think they'd buy it for new tracks in Mario Kart. I'm not sure they
because there's also no competitive or hardcore or like serious Mario Party fan fan base. Like there's a competitive Mario Party scene or Mario Kart scene. There's tournaments on like online ranked, all that stuff. There's not a competitive Mario Party scene. So they can just instead release a new one that's, get the $60 from all the casual people again, rather than work on DLC and get like less people buy it, and it's a lot cheaper, so it makes less money for them. Even though it is slightly less effort. It's just it makes more sense for them to make a new one. It's just like really annoying because you get to like the point where it's like a new Call of Duty every year or a new Madden every year, and it's like, is this really new though? Like,
it's a good
really
point.
like.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that in terms of like the casual audience and how they're probably buying the game more than people like us who make Nintendo videos and like Nintendo fans like us, I guess. I think the only workaround, I guess, could be possibly including whatever expansion pass. I think they would probably have to go that route with this game if hypothetically it were to get DLC. I think they would probably just like add it to the expansion pass for like Nintendo Switch Online, which, that's a whole other topic. But I feel like that's the only other real workaround after hearing what you guys said. But my gut says like probably another game. Like the entire series history has told us that there's probably going to be a newer game out relatively soon. So that's probably going to be it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Mario Party is definitely getting stuff soon. Okay, so Mario Sports Battle League was the most recent one. That came out in 2022. So theoretically, we then wouldn't get another new Mario Sports game until 2024 because we got one in 2018 with Aces, 2020 with Super Rush, I believe, and then 2022
that
with
sounds about right.
Battle League. Yeah. Maybe Super Rush came out in 2021. I don't remember.
But it's close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, I think 2024 is next up for Mario Sports game. The next one on the docket is baseball, Sluggers. I think, regardless with what happens, I don't trust at all the next Mario Sports game.
Oh God, no.
They've completely lost my faith. It's gonna be underbaked with subpar updates coming later. I'm not buying whatever.
I can't get excited for any of these games anymore because I literally none of them are good. There's just not enough content in any of these games.
Yeah, and even like the one that has the most content is Tennis Aces in my opinion, but it took like a year and a half for it to get to that point. I'm not buying an old Mario Tennis game like a year and a half afterwards. I'm just not like hyped for it. Like it's just kind of I don't have a single Mario sports game on Switch. Actually,
I bought Aces when it came out. I played it for about a week. That's about it. So, I agree. I think Sluggers is probably next, but I can't even get excited about it because.
Yeah, Sluggers is definitely next. I mean, we have everything done in the whole like spin around all of the sports games they've made. Baseball is the most popular sport in Japan. Like, it's definitely going to happen. 2024, 2025. I don't know when, but it will. Definitely disappointing considering I grew up on the Mario sports games and I've loved them so much for so long. But as we've just talked about on the Switch, they have fallen off very disappointingly.
Did they switch developers or something? Is it
I
kind of a similar
don't
thing
know.
With, like
I don't even think so.
Party?
I think it's still next level and I forget who did. Yeah, I forget. I think it's the same like studios and whatnot. I think it's probably just Nintendo giving them less time, if I had to guess.
That's definitely that has to be it because I mean I remember the big controversy with Battle League early on was the roster, how it was like, I know Rosalina is now a Mario mainstay, but like you're disincluding like Daisy and characters like that, and you're putting like Rosalina in, like here, literally right here, here's the roster. This was the roster the base game launched with. What a joke.
Because you want to just read it out for audio listeners?
Yeah, that is true. So we have Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Peach, Rosalina, Toad, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Waluigi, and very disappointing.
The most possibly basic
It's so basic. It's just like they added characters with the free updates. That's like, how can you get excited? Like I remember they added Shy Guy, Daisy, Bowser Jr., a couple others I'm forgetting off the top of my head again because I didn't
Diddy
buy
Kong
this
and
awful
Pauline,
game.
maybe?
Yes, I think you're right on that.
But even still, like, what are we doing? Like,
should have been base game in the first place. Lack of content. I mean, it's just so depressing, and I'm
not
scared
a single
for
player
baseball.
mode either.
Yeah, not a single player mode
at
either,
least
which
Tennis
is
Aces and
huge.
Super Rush had like their single player campaigns with like RPG elements,
Yeah.
like upgrading stuff and whatnot. This had nothing. They completely dropped the ball on Strikers. I think they thought it was going to become like a competitive thing, so they didn't bother putting in any type of single player mode. But they got to understand, like,
Laughable.
there can be a competitive scene for this type of game, but like it would be like if they made Mario Kart like a competitive racer and didn't make it fun to play with your friends or single player. Like, it didn't add in enough stuff. Like, if they made Mario Kart super competitive, but there were only like 3 cups, and what are we doing at that point?
Yeah.
Like,
It's so
just
funny.
weird.
It's like the game has an identity crisis. It's like Nintendo games, and they have done this. We see this with Smash Bros. Throughout history. They have been so anti-competitive unless they can control the market themselves. Any other third party they are completely against. And as long as it's within their legal right, they will try to shut it down. We've seen this 1,000 times. So that's that whole competitive thing. I actually agree with you, Thomas, how their mindset behind it, like, not wrong. But yeah, this is just a mess, and I'm scared for Sluggers. I hope it can be as great as Super Sluggers back on the Wii, because the Wii era of sports games, in my opinion, is when it peaked. Like, Mario aside, even Nintendo Sports. So yeah, I just don't see it bouncing back anytime soon, and I think we're all cautiously optimistic for that eventual Sluggers announcement for 2024, 2025, whatever.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I guess quickly to like kind of move on from sports, but not jump to what we have next. When we were planning this out, we forgot to talk about any Mario RPG stuff.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So I want to just quickly say, I think I don't think we're getting any Mario and Luigi. Sorry, like Alpha Dream Mario and Luigi fans. I know it's possible we could get that, but I don't think it's happening. I think the only thing that we could probably get is a Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door remaster. That's the only thing I could see happening soon, because there have been rumors about that. I don't think we're gonna get a new Paper Mario for a while, because we just got Origami King in 2020.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be a remaster, and I don't see us getting a remaster for Mario and Luigi, considering that's basically what killed that franchise. So I could see Paper Mario, either the original or 1,000-Year Door, getting a remaster. But besides that, I think Mario RPGs are going to be silent for a little bit.
I agree with that.
Agreed.
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't see anything but a remaster until like the next system. So, yeah.
Yeah. Dope.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on. Thomas's.
Yeah.
One of Thomas's favorites once again.
Oh, I've already talked about it this episode when we were in the 2D Mario section. Donkey Kong Country is one of the most underrated series of all time. It's highly rated, and it's still somehow underrated. The original 3 on the SNES are an absolute treat. Returns was a pretty decent return to form, and allowed Retro to kind of get their footing in the 2D platforming genre after making Metroid Primes for the past 3 years, or the past 3 games rather, and then Tropical Freeze is just like that. It's just like that. It's like one of the best games ever made. So, of course, the Donkey Kong Country fan in me wants another Donkey Kong Country game, but I don't think we're going to get one. In fact, I think we'll probably get, if we're going to get a new Donkey Kong game, it's going to be a 3D game. I don't know if it's going to be completely open, or if they're going to go kind of a Super Mario 3D World / Kirby and the Forgotten Land approach, but I do think Donkey Kong is like the next Nintendo franchise to kind of make that jump into 3D, because it tried to a while ago, but obviously we know how Donkey Kong 64 went, but it, yeah, I think Donkey Kong, we're not going to get one for a little bit. There was a rumor a while ago that Donkey Kong was going to get a 3D title, but that never panned out. So I guess it's possible, but yeah, I don't see this happening this year at least. Not 2023. From 2024 and beyond, it's more than possible, but I'm not going to hold my breath for it.
Yeah, it's very odd because when I think about Donkey Kong Country, just the series in general, it's like it feels like such a staple of like Nintendo 2D platformers. Like every single one of them is good. There's not a bad game in there.
Yep.
But I also don't think they're really ready to put out another one. And I think, like you said, I think they make the jump to 3D here. It's sad because I want another Donkey Kong Country game, but I don't see one for a very long time, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely agreed all the way. For sure.
Nope.
We can move right
Yeah.
on to another
Okay.
spin-off of Mario here. Here's Luigi's Mansion. Obviously, we got Luigi's Mansion 3, I believe, in 2019, obviously for the Switch. And I think that got some sort of deal. I never bought this game, so I'm kind of
It
talking.
did get a expansion
But yeah.
pass, I believe.
There you go.
It was weird. It was no new single player content, but it was all stuff for the multiplayer.
Right.
Which Luigi's Mansion 3 actually had a pretty robust multiplayer mode, but there was like new costumes and stuff you could get for the multiplayer and like new maps and stuff, I think. Not personally my thing, so I never bought it. But yeah, or sorry, I should clarify. The DLC was not my thing. The campaign I thought was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
A lot of people like really, really liked it. I didn't think it was like amazing. I thought it was a pretty like it was what I expected from a Luigi's Mansion game on Switch. I was not. The only thing that blew me away was the animations. I don't think like the gameplay itself was like some people put this up there as one of their best Switch games. Like I would not
Really?
say that. I think it's just kind of like there.
I've seen
Funny,
that
I have
opinion
no,
before.
I have
yeah.
no clue what Luigi's Mansion gameplay is like. I've literally never played it or like even looked at like.
What?
I have no clue like what you do. Do you just like suck up ghosts?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like
Is
puzzle
it like
solving.
a puzzle game? Puzzle
Yeah,
game?
puzzle
Okay.
solving,
puzzles
and you're
with,
sucking
like-
up ghosts.
Okay.
The vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never.
That
played
is
any of the games.
crazy to admit, by the way,
I
live on the
know.
podcast. That
I
is
know.
insane.
I'm such a fake Nintendo fan. I swear.
Jesus. Oh my
funny.
god.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a fair amount of like puzzling, a little bit of like not like platforming in terms of like jumping and stuff, but like action in terms of like, you know, you got to avoid things that are coming at you, like you got to
Yeah.
move out of the way of stuff. And then I guess the combat of sucking up ghosts is like, I don't know, I don't think it's that great, but I think a lot of the like enjoyment for this game, like it's a very slow paced game. In my opinion, at least, like a lot of the enjoyment comes from like exploring the areas, like looking at all the unique animations, like interacting with stuff by like trying to like suck it in with the vacuum, like
Yeah.
there's like there's like coins and money hidden everywhere. If you like try and, you know, suck in that random vase, it sounds weird to say. If you try and suck in that like just random stuff that's littered around, like
Yeah.
you'll get money from it.
All right.
Because it's like all like coded into the game like pretty well, but. Yeah, I don't think it's like great. It sold incredible though, so hey, maybe we get a new one. I think Luigi's Mansion 3 sold over 10 million units.
Yeah, I think that's probably partially due to the Switch effect, but that doesn't really matter, to be honest, in this
Yeah,
case,
it
I
still
think,
sold
because
well.
exactly, because it's had 3 games. I feel like Luigi's Mansion is kind of a staple for home consoles, I guess, now, because obviously Nintendo is going in the hybrid direction, so I don't think we're going to get any purely portable consoles anymore. But anyway, I feel like we definitely will get a 4th one whenever a new console comes out. I feel like it's one of those like middle of its life cycle, and
Yeah.
by middle of its life cycle, I mean like the Switch 2 games. To be honest, I feel like it's just gonna get dropped whenever, and it's gonna be like, oh, that's cool, and then we'll see gameplay, and it'll probably do pretty well, but it's not gonna be one of the biggest games like on the console, you know?
I agree
Yeah,
with that.
I would agree. I think the only thing that might make me think that they'd want to have it earlier in the console's life cycle is because Luigi's Mansion 3 did so well. Like I could
fair.
see it being a year.
I guess
year
it just
1 or year 2
depends
title.
on how many games they're going to have early, because obviously
Yeah.
the Nintendo Switch currently is not making any games. So, like, other than Tears of the
Not really,
Kingdom and
yeah.
like Pikmin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe they have a stacked lineup that we don't know about for the next console. But anyway, it'll be
It's very
interesting to see.
possible.
It'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see what direction they go. So here's
Yeah,
an interesting one. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. No,
No,
I
all good.
nothing to say.
We're,
I was gonna
we're a couple
transition,
we're a
but
couple
it's all you.
Canadians right now. We're a couple Canadians
I know.
apologizing on live. Unlucky. So I know this is a WarioWare trailer for visual viewers, but we're just talking about the Wario franchise in its entirety. You know, we can talk Wario Land, Wario World, WarioWare.
Okay.
What's the
Yeah.
move? Like, do we think that we could get another Wario World or like a 3D Wario Land? Like, what's your guys' opinion
I think
on
we're okay.
that whole thing?
Firstly, I think we're definitely getting a WarioWare game on whatever the next system is, because I just feel like
I
there's.
feel like
been
that's
one,
another
I
one like
feel- I
Luigi's
feel like
Mansion.
it's
Yeah.
become a staple, and like
Yep.
they do decent. I don't know if they like.
This
I don't
one
know
didn't.
sales numbers. It didn't
This
do
one
well.
not nearly as well as I would expect it to do.
Interesting.
And I'm part of the problem. I love WarioWare. I always like kind of sing this franchise's praises. Never bought this game. It was, I believe, it was only $50. It was like I remember it was discounted from 60. It wasn't the full 60.
Yeah.
I just didn't get this game. But and it didn't. I think it's like slightly over 1 million units, but like
Wow.
comparison, Luigi's Mansion 3 sold over 10 million.
Yeah.
Like it's way less than all the Mario sports games. It's way less than most games on Switch.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's
odd.
also like
It's definitely
didn't really
one of the
have
least popular. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't have like an impact. Like no one talks about WarioWare Get It Together. Yeah,
Strange.
I don't know. I would love to see another WarioWare game, but also I might see them just like taking a break from WarioWare for a bit because like this one didn't do super well to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nobody
I'm
talks
not
about it. It was one of those games where it gets talked about for the first day and then it literally becomes irrelevant. It's disappointing for sure, considering, obviously Wario is a part of the Mario franchise, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Do you guys
But
think
what about-
Wario could return to the platforming stage one day? Because we haven't had one of those in a
That's the
long
question.
time.
It's
I
gonna
think they
have
got
to
too
be
much on their
some
plate.
weird left field like thing, but I don't see it like happening. Not next console. Not like, I don't know. They really just would have to have the passion to make it, and I don't think there's like, I don't think that's there for Wario Land or World or whatever.
Yeah, I just think like we've admitted that they have to do something really wild and different for the next 2D Mario game.
Yeah.
We know that we're definitely getting a new 3D Mario eventually, possibly a new 2D or 3D Donkey Kong game. Not to mention Kirby is now kind of in the 3D space as well.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the other 2D platformers Nintendo makes.
Yeah.
I like Wario going back to platforming for the first time since the Wii. I think. I could if it happens, I could see it, but I also could very well.
I'd
not
be
see it
shocked.
and
I'd be shocked if I saw Wario come back to platforming. In my opinion,
I agree.
I just feel like you kind of nailed it on the head. There's so many other series that are getting into platforming that it doesn't make sense to use resources to make a return to Wario Land or World. I don't see it happening.
Multiple Mario franchises. You have Yoshi, Kirby. Like you're covering a whole lot there. So yeah, I kind of agree.
All right.
And that is it. So that was
That's
kind
it.
of the full state of every single franchise in Mario history ever. No, but like,
Yeah.
What
there we
about
go.
Yoshi? We didn't ever talk about Yoshi.
I hate Yoshi's Crafted World. We're not talking
no.
about it. We're not talking
We're
about it.
not- we're not
Get
talking
Yoshi
about
out of
Yoshi.
here.
Crafted World
I
2?
hate Yoshi. No.
Stop.
Never.
You should never
I
bring
loved
that up.
Woolly World. Just get rid of the entire craft aesthetic, the wool aesthetic. It's dumb. It's overplayed. Make a good
didn't like
platform.
Go-Go
Don't
Yoshi?
rely on dumb gimmicks. No, terrible, bad. Yeah. So let's look at here. Let's pick up 2 fan questions to look at here. Because we went a bit long on that segment. The first one here is going to be from Chris Tendo. Now this will kind of be outdated.
Because we were supposed to do this last episode, and then we said, screw it, we like Mario
Yeah.
Kart, so we'll do it next
Yeah.
episode. So we are currently
Do we
recording
even want
this
to
on May 11th.
necessarily? Yeah, this is like
Answer
the
it?
day before Tears of the Kingdom. Do we want to answer it because it'll come out by the time
the
we're
day
watching
of.
this? Tears of the Kingdom will be out, so we might just skip
good
over this.
point.
I guess
Yeah.
I'll
Let's
say
see
my one
what
thing.
else
I hope I
we
don't
got.
get spoiled. That's my hope.
That's my biggest wish is not to get spoiled by some jerk on YouTube with
Yeah.
bosses and thumbnails.
We got 2 non Tears of the Kingdom ones, so that's the good thing.
Dope, Crazy Tendo,
Sure.
another part of the Nintendo trio. Sorry, Chris,
Yep.
we skipped over your thing, but
We hate
Crazy
you.
Tendo says, imagine a reality where the Wii didn't do well. What do you think Nintendo would have done in the future of that world? What would their next consoles have been like? Bit of a weird one, but I hope you guys like it.
I don't think we have a Switch.
Yeah, that's a good point because we only get to the Switch through the Wii U, and we only get to the Wii U because of the Wii. I think if the Wii didn't do well, I think Nintendo. Honestly, I don't know because every single console was selling worse and worse and worse since the original NES. So if the Wii didn't explode and do really well, Nintendo. I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo shifted to handheld only.
Yeah.
Like
I
handheld
wouldn't write that
consoles
off.
only.
Wait,
I
what
wouldn't
was
write
the
that
question?
off.
If the Wii U did well or if it...
No, if the
or-
Wii didn't
Wii
do
did
well.
well.
The Wii didn't do well.
Yeah, it did
Okay.
do well. Yeah.
Yeah, because they would be doing even worse than the GameCube, and the GameCube... like,
Yeah.
It would have been GameCube to Wii U, basically, levels. Like,
That's not good.
that's...
That ain't good.
that's... No,
That is not good.
I I could see one more hurrah like Dreamcast, honestly, and then they could become like software developers.
I don't think
Imagine
they
if we
necessarily
played
go straight
Mario
to
on
software.
PC. That would be funny.
That would be crazy. I think they'd work on making better handhelds. Like I think of the Switch personally as like a home console that can be portable. I don't know if that's like crazy of me to say, but that's just the way I think of the Switch. I think we would have eventually gotten to a similar place of where we are, but it would have gone through the route of Nintendo would have only made handheld consoles, and then I think eventually once they got powerful and smartly developed enough to the point where the handheld consoles had home console graphics like the Switch does, we would probably get somewhere where we could like connect the Switch to a larger screen. I mean, that's like the logical next step.
Yeah.
And then we kind of get to where we are with the Switch, but everything else would be different. The games we would get would be different. Like we'd be in a complete alternate universe scenario.
We don't get Breath of the Wild. We don't get Odyssey. We don't get 3D World. Like, that's a world I don't want to live in.
We don't get no Switch stop, dude. We literally don't have a Switch
True,
stop.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I don't know who
That's
you guys
good.
are. You're just Mac. You're just some random Floridian kid I'll never meet in my life. PJ, you're some Canadian.
Yeah.
Just randos.
Some ex-Amish Canadian kid. Yeah.
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 Literally never would have even known you existed. That's crazy. Yeah, no,
Right.
everything would have been different, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
It is.
I think just to sum it up, Nintendo would not still be making home consoles. They would have gone exclusively to handheld, and eventually we would get. It probably wouldn't have come out until later on in the future now even, but eventually we would get to a point where you could plug your handheld console into the TV and it would somewhat get to the Switch, because the Switch feels like the natural conclusion for a company that makes both handheld and home consoles, and we eventually arrive there. I think it would take longer if they stopped making home consoles, but we would still get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last question here from Josh, who is actually Switch Stop funny moments, I believe, or is it best of? I forget which one it
I
was
think
changed
he changed
to.
it to best of.
Best of. Okay.
Yeah.
We ain't funny.
Great guy.
We're not funny.
We are not funny. We're mid as hell. We just make Nintendo videos, man. Anyway, great question from him, though, asking who would be the most interesting Mario character to meet. This is going to be a fun one.
Oh, boy. Most
I don't know.
interesting one. Well, it would have to be one that can speak. Like I'm
gonna just say it.
Yeah.
I feel like
Kong.
Toad. I feel like Toad would be hilarious. Like I'm imagining like Keegan Michael Key Toad and like meeting that version. I feel like that would be hilarious because like Toad is like he's funny. He's a small little dude. He sounds cute. You know. I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah.
He'd be creepy in real life, though.
True.
not a cartoon.
I could see that.
I would want to say like either Wario
Bowser?
or Waluigi. No, because I could see Wario and Waluigi.
Yeah, but we
like,
know Wario's and Waluigi's in real life, though.
Yeah, well, I would want to see them. I
There's
would want
no
to
way.
talk to them.
Yeah.
Thomas knows
Yeah,
a few.
I
I'm
think
not
so.
gonna name them, but yeah.
I think
Knows a few.
Mario and Luigi would kind of be boring. I don't think I'd want to meet any of the princesses just because they don't really have personalities. No offense to the princesses. Like
Jesus.
Yeah.
they don't like if you're not talking about the movie, then they don't
yeah,
really.
that's
Like
true.
Peach doesn't have a personality. Daisy has a personality, but it's like generic Tom girl. Like I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna get roasted in the comments for
No,
saying
they
that,
get
but-
disrespected in the games, but like in the movies, we're seeing what their potential can
Yeah.
be for sure. I mean, like the games don't really give them space to have like character development. You know what I mean? Like it's been the same
Yeah.
for so long. It's been the same.
And-
Like Mario, come save me! Like
Yeah.
you know.
And
So-
if I just had to pick, like, none of the characters really have character development. I'm not picking Donkey Kong because he would just murder me on instinct because he's actually just like a giant gorilla. But like, if
Yeah.
I could pick like one character, I would probably just pick Waluigi because I think it would be funny. Like,
Yeah.
not that he has great character development either, but I just think it's funny.
yeah, Waluigi's a good pick.
Actually, take it back. I'd probably pick Yoshi so I could just like ride on Yoshi and just kind of like pick up.
That would be
apples or
dope,
whatever.
actually.
Yeah.
I'd be a fan of that.
Yeah.
Just like hopping on Yosh,
Yeah, and see
IRL.
where we go. Yeah. Yeah.
flutter jump.
Or do you go with like somebody who can fly, like glide on or something, and then well, he can't fly, he glides, so never mind.
Oh, I'd say Cappy. Because then you would have Cappy
Oh,
That's the one.
so
We got
smart.
there. Yeah.
That's the
You
one.
pick Cappy.
Yeah,
Cappy's the one.
100%.
power. That's the correct answer.
Yep.
Cappy or
either
Flood for
Cappy
me,
or-
just
yeah,
because
Cappy or
I
Flood.
love Sunshine. Yeah.
Having a jetpack would be sick.
Oh
I
my
will
god.
admit
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Or I guess if we're going down this path, like having a Luma in your hat that would allow you to like have a massive spin jump would be pretty cool. But I think I still go with Cappy.
Yeah,
I think
After
Cappy's
seeing the
just, like,
Luma in the Mario movie and how
Oh yeah, actually never mind. Screw that.
questionable his mode. I don't even know what gender the Luma is, but anyway, the motives of the Luma was it was a little questionable. Dude was just waiting for death, pretty much.
Yeah, that would be depressing to carry them around. So I'm not
Yeah,
thinking
for
that
sure.
anymore.
Just
Yeah, Cappy, I think is my answer. Cappy.
Yep, I agree.
Lock it in.
I'm
picking
going.
Cappy.
I'm going with Flood just because I love Sunshine, but
Yeah,
Cappy is a great answer for sure.
Yeah.
And that is it for the fan questions. There we go.
That is
Nice.
it for the fan questions, and therefore that is it for the podcast, guys.
Yes, sir.
Last ever podcast before our 50th episode. Crazy to
Episode
think
50.
about.
Leave a comment below
Yeah.
guessing what we're gonna do, because big episode, big
Yeah.
episode.
We're gonna podcast for 50 hours.
Dude, by
50
hour 3,
hours.
you're gonna be in a silly, goofy mood. I think I'm good, man.
I think
You don't
that
want me in
would
my
be.
silly goofy moon?
Oh hell no,
No.
no. You get
That'd
in
be the
another,
worst
dude, you
episode
get in
ever.
another state after 3 hours. You just like start jumping on the walls.
Little goofy guy like the Luma.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
get a little
I
bit
mean, at
existential. That could be
Thomas's
fun. We
house,
could
you
have
were-
some
you- you
existential
were
talks
throwing,
on
like-
the 50 hours.
yeah. I don't know about that. At Thomas's house, after 3 hours, you were throwing exercise balls against the wall. So
I was throwing it like
it was a
3
little crazy.
seconds into being at Thomas's house. I go upstairs and I pick up the ball and I start bouncing it right away.
that's true.
I don't know what it is. I just like when I go place. This is actually a really weird thing I do. I don't know. I just go into places and I pick up whatever like toy they just have sitting around and mess with it. Like immediately I'm playing with the little flute thing, like pretending like I know how to play it. And like
I have a
doing
video.
repertoire.
I have a video of
Yeah,
that.
I don't
on
know
my
why
phone.
I do that.
I have a video of that
It's
on
a
my
weird thing I do. I don't get
All right.
it, but
That
Were you
video
the kid
will
at the
get
dentist
played
office
at the end
where,
of the
like,
podcast.
Yeah.
You know those games or whatever when you were like a kid? I forget what they're called. It was like you would take like, oh my god, it was like made of wood. You would take these like little buttons and you would like move them down, and it was like down a rod or whatever. I don't know what that's
Oh,
called.
I know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
yeah, wait.
I don't even know what they
Mac
were
was
called. I don't
definitely
think they were
that kid.
called
Like
Yeah.
he got into
Oh,
the dentist
100%.
office and he went there and he was like, oh my god, mom, look.
oh yeah,
like, that's
I was so
definitely-
excited when I go to the
Very
dentist. They had the
tactile.
pit of toys
Yeah.
that you could pick out one before you left. I always
yeah.
yeah. And now they're just filled with like a bunch of fidget spinners and stuff, so they don't have any good toys in there.
Yeah,
anymore.
they fell off.
yeah
Gen Zers.
The dentist fell off.
Newest Gen Zers ruined everything.
yeah.
Well, next time you guys hear us, Mac will have a fidget toy to make sure he's not going crazy. It'll be
Yeah.
episode 50. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom will be out. Life will be good. So
50
we'll talk
hours.
to you guys then.
Yep.
50 hours, 100 hours maybe. If we
Wonderful.
get 50 likes on this podcast, we'll podcast for 50 hours. So, yeah.
That's pretty low. I think
That's,
they
We're not
could
gonna get
that's
50
like
likes.
very likely.
I don't think we
feel
get
like
50
that's,
likes.
Well, if you promote
think
it,
we
you
do.
definitely get 50 likes.
This is at the end of the episode, so they're not actually hearing it. There's
That's
like
a good
3
point.
people.
If we
that
said it
made to
early,
the
it would
end.
be over.
We
but
just
yeah.
talked about a dentist office for 4 minutes. There's like 2 people watching this. And I think it's PJ while editing, and then me later re-listening to the podcast.
and then I just don't listen ever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you? Do you listen back to the pod?
I have not listened to the podcast since I
I hope
wasn't
it's
on
because you hate your voice.
it is
not-
because I hate
not
my voice,
saying-
but also
not
because
saying
like
I
why would I
yeah,
listen
that
to
was
my
a,
voice?
that was a shout out. That was a shot.
that
by
was
PJ.
not.
Everybody
I
hates
hope it's
my
because you
voice.
hate your voice. Because you should hate your voice, Mac.
Wait, did he
That's what
say
PJ
that?
just said.
I did not say that.
Well, he just
PJ.
he implied it.
That is incorrect.
PJ.
He implied it.
That's incorrect.
All right, we're gonna end this episode before the podcast breaks up because
Slander.
the band.
Stop
Whoa,
lying.
whoa, 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 whoa,
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
I
whoa,
just
whoa.
opened up my
buddy.
window and it just got like so bright in here. Good thing audio listeners cannot see that.
Audio
All right.
losers.
No, don't say that. Don't say that. All right, we'll see you guys in the next
Unbelievable.
one. Oh my god.